The Pete Carroll Show. The first word from the Seahawks head coach every Monday at 9:30 with Mike Salk. Brought to you by Pizza Hut on 710 ESPN Seattle.
Well, we're waiting on Pete. Hopefully he'll be here in just a couple of minutes. Getting lots to talk about, obviously. It was a heck of a game yesterday. The Seahawks played. Crowd super invested and involved. Heard from friends who were there. I was watching on DVR yesterday, sort of an oddity where I don't get to watch a game live. But, sometimes your daughter's concert takes precedence, and so I was excited to be. I'd never been at what's it called? Town Hall Seattle. What a cool location, cool venue.
First Hill, yeah.
Yeah, the whole Northwest Girl Choir did a great job yesterday. It was a lot of fun to watch. But, so I was watching late, but just I was struck more than anything by the crowd. And just how much more of a factor the crowd seemed to be in this game than we've heard really throughout the year.
You heard it on, they were talking about it on the broadcast, too, about how loud it was in there.
Yeah, I mean, and you could tell. I mean, and I think that some of that comes from the, getting a goal line stand at home to win a game. That's like the ultimate crowd experience, much more so than watching your team run the whole 2-minute drill. Because let's face it, you're supposed to be quiet during the 2-minute drill. Like, it's exciting in that, and then there's something to that too, because it's like quiet, and then all of the pent up excitement comes out when you score. But the cool thing about a big defensive stand like that is it's amped, it's loud, right? The crowd is a big part of it. You're trying to help out your team. The defense is doing the thing where they're trying to get everybody louder and they're raising towels and all that. And then, so you're gearing up and it's loud, and then you make the play, like the play Carlos Dunlap makes on 4th down, and somehow it still manages to get louder than that, which is cool, right? Because it's already, like, you're already trying to be as loud as you could possibly be in order to help your defense as much as you can. So to be able to then come up with the big moment, the fact that it gets even louder, I think it just makes it an extra cool thing. So Pete Carroll joining us right now, coming off of that victory. Coach, good morning. What a fun, weird, interesting, crazy game, but what an unbelievable ending it had.
Yeah, it was a really crazy game. There's just the explosive start, and then surviving. We kind of weathered the storm a little bit in there, and then we got hold of it and played some good football, did some good stuff, and came up with the stops and the plays, and looked a lot more like the team that we would like to look like. So it was a good day.
You like ending a game at home with a defensive goal line stand? I mean, just the crowd and their involvement and all that.
You see, I know that like we talked about at times, that the fans like that nice, easy, comfortable win, and we blew them out and all that. But after all these years, I'm a little sick about it. The crazier the better, and so I pretty much count on it happening for the good, and we would have to get a finish like that with those guys out there battling and clawing and to win a football game. It's just memorable and fun and exciting, and I'm sure the fans, they it's hard on them, but yet they got a great memory too.
It was pretty loud, and then we heard this.
With a single setback, Garoppolo looks. Ball is tipped up in the air. It's going to fall to the ground. The Seahawks are going to win this football game. The 4th and 3 pass was tipped at the line of scrimmage. I don't know who tipped it, but I want to go down and shake that man's hand.
Rabes eventually found out it was Carlos Dunlap,
yeah.
But it was a pretty hyped moment, I thought, and it was. You mentioned how it was good for the fans to get it. I agree with you. I felt like it was almost cathartic for the fans to see all of that.
Yeah, I do too. We haven't had as much cheering and joy and fun and excitement at the stadium, unfortunately, this year. And so let's do this, and let's do some more and keep having fun and see what happens, And let's give it to Rabes too, man. He's awesome. He calls this stuff just the way we love hearing it, and you kind of he's going to say it, but it still gives you a chill when he hits it. And so that was a nice job, nice call.
What was the key to this win?
The defense just hung together and stopped the freaking running game, man. These guys have been killing it on the ground, and they were. I think we discouraged them a little bit early, and they just didn't stay with it like they had been. And so we had an exceptional day against the best running team in football here over the last month, and that was a big accomplishment. Unfortunately, there was just a couple big plays that we messed up on that they got away, and we would have had a great day of playing defense. And so it's a very, very good job there. Also, we saw the offense find their drives, and we had the drives that we needed, and we had 2 more touchdowns on the board. This game would have been a lot different game. We just don't turn the ball over like we did down there, and so it was just a good all-around day. We felt it and felt good. I thought all phases contributed in a huge way. The special teams, again, were just spectacular, and it was really fun seeing our guys go.
You mentioned the defense stopping the run. I'm sure that was a point of emphasis leading into a game against the Niners, not like it isn't every week, but especially a team, as you said, that was running the ball as well as they had. Did you guys do anything different in the game to do that, or was it?
Yeah, we did. We did do a couple things, and we did some things in the plan that matched some guys up, and really I would give some credit to Al Wood's role that he played in this thing. He was over there on the tight end side a bunch, and they're a strong side running football team, and he had an excellent game. He matched up beautifully where we put him, and I thought the game went well along with that. But I think Al's, the emphasis that we made early in the week with moving him around a little bit worked out for us.
We probably don't talk about him enough. He's had a really good year, at least to my eye.
He has.
He took last year away from the game, opted out due to what was going on in the world with COVID. Is it possible that helped him? I mean, is he fresher this year and maybe even better off for the year that he took off?
I don't know, but he's an older guy. He's been around, and his body is fresh to play. And I mean, I say that, and right now he's trying to get out of bed, too. But he would have had this year last year, I think, without doubt. But he made a big choice for the family, and he's got a bunch of kids and stuff, and so he thought that was the right thing to do. So we did get some fresh legs coming into the season, but as an older guy, he has to endure it. Marvelous job of staying in shape. He's got a fantastic attitude. He is a leader and just a kind of a pace setter for us because he's such a big dude that plays so hard. And you don't find guys that will run to the ball and chase it like he does with such a great spirit. I mean, he is really one of the favorites in the locker room because he's such a stud, and we're lucky to have him. I don't care how old he is.
How about your linebacker play yesterday? One play, it was a small thing, but it stood out to me, was Darrell Taylor making a play in space. We've seen him coming off the edge and kind of what he's able to do as a pass rusher. How important is that development for him to be able to play in space?
He's really a versatile football player. It's just experience. It's just time out there. There's so many little things that happen. They pick at you. You make one little mistake, and they make you look bad in drops and in space. But he is coming along. He can be an excellent outside linebacker that can drop and cover and bring the heat off the edge. So that was nice. One of the things that happened in yesterday's plan is the linebackers, the 2 hook guys between Bobby and Jordan. Those guys really played good, and they got in the way of some passes that Bobby got the pick, and the other one they were right on the money on a drop, and the ball that got overthrown that went to Diggsy. That was because of their play underneath, and that was a big part of the game plan to keep them from throwing the ball over the middle, and our guys did a great job there.
You mentioned special teams. You mentioned Rabes. I guess I have to play this for you. Then.
Yeah, come on. I haven't heard this one. Let me hear this one.
Brandon Ayuk and a fake. The fake is coming near side 40. Midfield, it's Travis Homer. 40. He's going to go 30. He's running 20, 15, 10, 5. Flips into the end zone. Touchdown, Seahawks. 73 yards. Pull out all the stops on the first drive of the game. Score any way you can. And the Seahawks just did on a fake punt. Travis Homer, the up back, takes the snap, goes around the left side, and takes it 73. Had a blocker in front, cuts back inside, and he was gone.
It's pretty good.
That's a good call, Rapes. Man, he stretched that one out just as long as the play was. That was great.
So what led to that? How did that come about?
It was really good work by Larry and Tracy and on special teams, the coaches, and preparing and having our guys ready for the opportunity. We've been working on something for a while and looking for the op, and they saw it, and we had to make the decision, during the week. I was all for it. I was fired up for the chance of it. And then we had to, when are you going to go for? Well, when the look is there, you may only get one shot during a game, so we had to leave it wide open for the guys to go ahead and take the shot. It happened to be in the 23 or 27 yard line or something like that. The question was, how far back would we go ahead and make the call? Right in pregame, made the final decision with let's go. And this was that day. I don't know if you noticed it, but this was the day we went for some stuff and wanted to really push the issue and push the players and be in the right mentality to go win the football game against the team that's been playing and been really hot.
Well, I want to follow up on the mentality because I think that's interesting. But specifically on that play, is that called from obviously the fake is in there, but does Homer have to make the final call as to whether or not to run it?
Yeah, Homer runs the whole show out there. He and Tyler Ott up front. They figure it all out, but Homer makes all the calls, and so he had to see it, he had to call it, communicate it, and all of that. And it was beautiful. We're ready to punt the ball, and we're ready to protect, and then bang, here comes the audible to it, and just you got to hand it to those guys. Beautiful, beautiful execution.
You
Great
knew it
block
was
by
coming?
Valor. Heck yeah! Oh yeah,
Okay.
we saw the look. We went, oh gosh, here we go.
You have to poker face that so you don't give it
Oh,
away.
yeah.
Like you got to be looking around like, oh my God, what's going to happen here, right?
The epitome of poise over there on the sideline.
I'm sure you were. That's what you're known for. You mentioned just the attitude that you guys brought into the game, and we certainly saw it. I don't want to say carefree or reckless, but certainly trick plays and going for it on fourth down and the fake. I mean, was there an extra element of kind of just letting loose in this one?
Yeah, sometimes you just got to say, that's why we took the field goal kick. That's why we went for it on fourth down. That's why we did the double pass. I mean, all that stuff. And that was all part of the mentality. I was hoping that the players would feel that our commitment to going for it, and sometimes that's important, sometimes it isn't. I felt like it was, and I think it even had to do with Adrian being in this week too. We just kind of went for it across the board, and everybody took to it, and the guys did a great job with it.
When you say that, was there something that had been missing that you felt like you needed to add? Like, what was it about the team that made you think that
just
they
coaching,
needed that?
man? Just coaching. You guys want us to do the same stuff every week, or you want us to try to win? We're just looking for ways and to get a spark, and it's been difficult, and it hasn't been like we wanted it to, and so we just looking for ways to find. I mean, we faked a punt from a 27-yard line, and we didn't care what the down distance was. We were going anyway, So I mean, it was just the mentality that we always live like that. But I just, as I look back at this game, I can see where it showed up a number of times, and there's some questions in there that guys want to know. Well, why would you do this? Why would you do that? Well, that's why we were going for it.
Were you trying to make sure that the team had more fun?
I'm always trying to do that now. That's always part of it, Mike. And so. I don't think that as much as that we're still going for it, and that's why Adrian came in, and we didn't have to bring him in. We had 3 guys hurt during the week, and there was a logic to that, and but then when he looked good, we just went with it, and I mean he might not even have been active in this game, coming in on a Wednesday and starting up with us, but we just went a little bit for it and in a way to make this week, just a good solid week of competing and going for it, and the guys took to it.
Well, I was going to ask you about him a little bit, and I wondered about his physicality and whether that was important to you. I mean, he had the run on third down where he looks like he's going to be stopped a couple yards short and kind of drives the legs, and the offensive line gets involved. And I did find myself thinking about our conversation from last week, and you mentioning, the importance of that physicality from the running back position. He obviously provided some of that.
Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, that's been his, kind of his way always. He's been a very aggressive runner. But it was also, having a guy back there that you're excited to give the ball to for whatever the reasons were. Our big guys, they wanted that touchdown now. They wanted him to. They talked about during the week, let's get this touchdown for the guy, and they were hoping it happened, and the right play occurred, and Shane fit it just right for the situation, and we get it. And it's just for really the fun of the game, make it memorable. And Adrian is an extraordinary individual, and he had like I said, he had a big impact on us. Just made it more, just heightened everything a little bit during the week, and that helped us.
What'd you make of Rashad Penny's day?
Pretty good. He did a nice job, and the screen pass was nice. Hit a nice weak side play that was a good hitter. We need to keep counting on him, and it was whenever you see him give you a little spark, he's got really good quickness, and it shows up when he gets on the edge and all. And so we need the pop, and it was great to have him contribute.
It sure seems like if he can get into space, he's dangerous.
Yeah, he's always been, he's been able to score from anywhere, and so we just need his input, and we're still bringing him back. He's still coming back into the fold, kind of, and he hasn't had enough steady work yet since his injury, and to really make any statement that he's fully back. So that's why we've been a little bit careful with him, and we're just trying to make sure that he can make positive steps and progress to help in our club.
How'd Russ play?
Solid, really good. I mean, Russ would have had 4 touchdown passes in this game and would have been a great game for him. And we messed it up down there a couple times. So I thought he played really well. He had a couple plays always that were great, and a couple plays that he'd like to do again. And we took a delay in the game that was really unfortunate. That was just we just took too much time, and he just didn't get out of the huddle, and we didn't get the line of scrimmage, and he's fixing the protection and the motion and all that, and we ran out of time. That was just a real rook mistake by all of us, and it shouldn't have happened.
Ultimately, though, I mean, he sure seemed a lot more accurate than we'd seen the last few weeks. I mean, the numbers show it, and I think the eye test showed it as well. Is that a function of the finger? What do we make of that?
Yeah, he's well. Yeah, he's well. He ain't perfect, but he's well. And it took all this time. It took 8 weeks to get back, and it took 4 weeks to get back on the field. And then he battled and did everything he could possibly do to help us. And we didn't know, we were in uncharted territory, trying to figure it out and evaluate what was going on and all that. But I would expect you can count on Russ to really push through this stretch of the season and be at it as good as we've seen him.
It sure would, it seems like it just makes everybody function better when he's functioning better and kind of at the peak of his game, right? I mean, like if we had any doubt that a quarterback was the most important position in sports, you really get a chance to experience it over the course of this year.
No, there's no doubt. And it's such an intricate position to play. And we get to see great players around the league, all different styles of guys, all different types of players and all that. And Russ has his way. He's got his way. Look at him in the 2 minutes again. Just unflappable. We went right down the field and a huge score for us, momentum-wise in that game to score, 23-21. And to get us back on track. And they had a really nice drive other than that, too. What you saw us drive the football a little bit, and that's because we converted some third downs. And we had a couple penalty third down conversions, which helped us as well. But that's the difference in what we've been like. And so we should have scored 40-something yesterday. We should have 45 points on the board.
The quarterback's always been of extreme importance in a football team, obviously. But how have you seen that develop in the last 20 years or so?
Well, that's a big question. The quarterbacking has shifted because the passing game has evolved in football on all levels, and kids grow up now throwing curl routes when they're 10, 11 years old. They get a curl flat route, and they learn how to throw that and see what that looks like, and they know it by the time they're in high school. And then by the time they get through high school, they're going to college, and they're getting more and more concepts and principles, and they're more at ease. They're just so much farther along than high school football used to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and you throw it every once in a while, and you have the star quarterback once in a while. But now everybody spreads the ball out, and quarterbacks just have so much more background, and receivers as well. But I think it's really the QB position that's so much more advanced because the coaches are. The coaches understand it. It used to be, the Woody Hayes, 3 bad things can happen when you throw it, and that's not the mentality anymore, and so we're just in a new age. It's a new age of football, and this game has really opened up and spread out.
So if I understand then, to follow that through, by the time they get to the pros, they've been more advanced in high school, even more advanced in college. And so the level of what you can throw at them is so much higher in the pros than it was?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And they're just so much more ready for it. They're so much more adept at all of the things that they do. Now, it depends on the structure of the team and the format they come from, but everybody's farther along. I mean, we're so much farther along. I mean, there's light years ahead of where we used to be, and so are the coaches, and so it's just a whole different style of football. You can see the exact same plays run in high school that are run in the NFL, same passes, same concepts, and they show up all the time. So it's media, it's just an evolution of the game. It's so much of it, and really great leadership by coaches and players to make it okay to throw the football like this. And so the game is just way out there now.
I wonder what would happen if one of the old great quarterbacks showed up, with their skills and Dan Marino, for example, not to pick on him, but what would happen if a Dan Marino with his arm talent and all of that showed up in today's game? How would they be able to handle it? Would they?
I was there. I was there in the division when he came in and when he started throwing it, and he was phenomenal he threw 48 touchdowns his rookie year or something like that. Some crazy thing, and then just went on to be the true Hall of Famer. He would be great in today's game. He would be every bit as good as anybody's playing the game. He was an incredible thrower, and a lot of those guys. What's really interesting, if you go back just a little bit farther before that, when Namath and those guys were playing, and watch the way they dropped back and they'd run back about 12, 13 yards. yards back there just to get away from the rush. It was just totally different style of stuff, and it's fascinating to see how much it's evolved. And remember the run and shoot thing came by, and all the different styles of games that have evolved into what it is today. Run and shoot was a big deal. It was a really big deal, and it was more than people realized about advancing everybody's openness to throwing the football around. And Mouse and those guys they deserve a lot of credit.
And yet, I know your philosophy requires balance.
Excuse me, Mike. To just drop the Mouse is not going to. Mouse Davis, that's that coach that was.
Well, of course, I knew that.
Okay,
I was up on the Mouse Davis,
okay.
But thank you for helping the listeners out. I'm sure not everybody.
What are they talking about?
This
freaking Mouse? What's the Mouse have to do with it?
I had no idea. So thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
You guys had 30 completions and 27 carries. That adds up to 57. That sounds like a win to me.
Isn't that a win? It's a win just staring at you. Yeah, it was awesome, and that's the balance that we've been talking about. That's what it feels like. That's what we look like. That's what we can count on. We can be better at a lot of things, but that's what our team should be playing like.
Let's run through just some of the injuries from the game. Obviously, the biggest one, Jamal Adams. What do we know this morning?
I don't know a whole lot more than he had an issue with his shoulder, the one that was repaired, and we'll know more. I will know more by the end of the day.
Couple of guys on the offensive line: Damian Lewis, Brandon Shell, Fuller. 3 guys that were all beat up.
Yeah, for Kyle Fuller, it was not an ankle sprain. It's a calf contusion just above his ankle. So that's a good sign that should help him return soon. Brandon he's just battling with a sore shoulder. He loses some power during the game when he's banging away. We'll have to see how he does. We may have to take care of him this week. I don't know. We'll have to see. Don't know that yet. And then Damian has a chance to come back. This was 2 weeks of him being off for his shoulder and his elbow, and should have a legit shot at getting back.
How was that? I mean, how did those guys fill in? You had some rookies in there, an undrafted guy. I mean, what did you make of that unit?
Yeah, well, it was great for those guys to play and contribute in a winning game, and they battled and Stone Forsythe goes in the game and he's staring over there at that monster 97, right off the bat, and he handled it well. He got through it and did just fine. Curran, Jake did all right playing left guard. He's really a tackle, but he jumped in there and played left guard for us and survived it. They'll play better, but they had a great first experience in a real crucial situation, so they'll only be better for that.
You got 5 weeks left in this season. What's the goal?
Keep winning. Keep winning. We get one game. Let's go get another one and go to Houston and get out of there with a win and go to the next one. And that's all it is. And we ain't dead yet. There's stuff happening. There's a lot of teams with 5 wins on the board right now that are still hanging in the stuff. We're just a notch behind them. We need to play our best football down the stretch. I talked to the team the other night about that. We're almost at the fourth quarter of this thing. I can't tell. When 17 games, I don't know where the fourth quarter starts. I can't figure that out. But we've been tremendously successful, really, in the final 4 games of the year for 10 years, and we need to do that again. And so we are building towards starting that motion towards that. Let's finish in the way we've been capable in the past by playing great football, and we'll see where that leaves us.
This would be like if they had a 63-minute game, and you're trying to figure out exactly
right.
where everything
right.
fits. It's just
my math can't handle that.
We're not used to these odd numbers.
Yeah.
Coach, it was a fun game to watch yesterday, that's for sure. Crowd was awfully into it.
Hey, can I say one thing just before you wrap up? Our guys are going through getting their boosters today, and really happy. There's a lot of energy around the building here because there's a lot of guys getting their stuff done, and for the people that are thinking about it, well, know that your Seahawks are taking care of business here, and we're trying to get everybody to be as healthy as they possibly can.
And I assume that you do that as early in the week as you can. I had mine a couple weeks ago, and it can knock you out for a day or so just in terms of the exhaustion stuff. So you guys do that early and try to make sure that by the end of the week.
Happened today, and hopefully we'll be okay by Wednesday.
Very cool. All right, Coach.
All right.
We appreciate it. It's nice to get to talk after a win. I missed the smile. It was nice to get back on good terms this week.
Right.
So,
all
congrats. Right. We'll talk again next week.
Remember, it isn't you, Mike. Okay, it hasn't been.
I never think it is.
Okay.
That's for sure. See you, Coach. We'll talk next week.
Bye.
There's Pete Carroll. We do this the morning after every game.